Welcome to the Madawan Aberdeen School District's regular action meeting on November 22nd, 2021. Time is now 6:31 p.m. Can we please stand for the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The New Jersey Open Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or agreed upon. In accordance with the provision of this act, the Madawan Aberdeen Regional School District Board of Education advertised this meeting on August 6, 2021 in the Asbury Park Press and the Star Ledger. This notice was sent to the municipal clerks of the Borough of Madawan and the Township of Aberdeen and the Madawan Aberdeen Public Library. The notice was also placed on the district's website. Ms. Case, can we please have roll call?
Mr. Ahern?
Here.
Dr. Delaney?
Here.
Ms. Friedman?
Here.
Ms. Martinez?
Here.
Mr. Montone?
Here.
Ms. Praswara?
Here.
Ms. Whalen? Ms. Osborne?
Present.
Mrs. Scully?
Here. Okay, the minutes for Committee of the Whole meeting October 11th, executive session October 11th, regular action meeting October 25th, executive session October 25th. Can I get a motion and a second to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Motion. Can I get roll call?
Mr. Ahern?
Yes.
Dr. Delaney?
Yes.
Ms. Friedman?
Yes, but I abstain as to the 25th.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Montone?
Yes.
Ms. Praswara?
Yes.
Ms. Osborne?
Yes.
Mrs. Scully?
Yes. Okay, and student representative report, Mr. Perlin.
Hello, Board of Ed. It's great to be back here today with another update on each school for the month of November. As always, I will start at the high school and go in descending order down to Cliffwood. At the high school, we have started planning for various school events, such as the fall drama, the December door decorating contest, various holiday-themed fundraisers, the annual December volleyball tournament, and Mr. Madawan competition in February. We had an incredibly successful Husky Experience open house at the high school this past Wednesday night, where over 500 middle school students and their families came to get a glimpse into the high school's clubs, sports, and academies. Finally, the 12th grade civic leaders made their trips to MAMS last week to teach the 8th grade students about respect towards classmates and teachers. As for NAMS, sign-ups for parent-teacher conferences have begun, and the conferences are scheduled for next Tuesday to Friday. The new Safe Space Club there had a showing of the movie Luca after school, where they raised over $160 for the Trevor Project. Finally, the student equity team will be showing a documentary on the events in Selma on Tuesday, December 14th from 6 to 8 p.m. in the auditorium. As for Lloyd Road, the PTO is organizing a food drive to go to the Madawan Food Pantry, and they have brought back the holiday shop. Principal Jared Beck is thrilled to announce that the school clubs are finally back up and running at the school, which includes the after-school tutorial program. Finally, the first family night of the year, called Camp Read-A-Lot, in attendance of over 250 students and parents. Next up is Strathmore, where the mascot Hootmore the Owl once again announced the monthly theme with Principal Barrett to all the classrooms. The theme for November was thankfulness. To celebrate Veterans Day, the school had a parade with the third graders created posters about various veterans and displayed them throughout the school as everyone wore red, white, and blue. The first STAR student meeting was this past Wednesday, where Strathmore recognized the 12 STAR students of the month, and they were handed their certificates. Finally, the PTO is planning the annual holiday shop, the first pizza bingo night, and the food drive, where they will be collecting gift cards. As for here at Ravine Drive, they announced the winner of the second annual Scarecrow drawing contest, and the winning artist had their drawing recreated three-dimensionally, and it's on display in the school. They also held this October drive where they collected over 300 pairs of men's and women's socks to be given to the American Legion Post in Neptune, where they would then be given to Monmouth County veterans. They will follow that drive up with a Thanksgiving food drive, where all the proceeds will be donated to the Monmouth County Food Bank. The final school covered will be Cliffwood, where they celebrated their STAR Student Awards for the new school year, and 18 students were recognized this month for the theme of respect. All Cliffwood students also recently attended a planetarium assembly put together by this PTO, where they learned about stars, constellations, and the solar system. Principal Van Horn is excited to announce that the Cliffwood staff will be participating in a fundraising basketball game at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, December 8th against the Harlem Wizards in MAM's new gym. Finally, they are proud to say that Cliffwood was voted best of the best public schools for all of Monmouth County in the Asbury Park Press. Overall, all the schools in our district are still easing their way back into a normal school year while getting ready for the holiday season. I'm also extremely excited to announce that 3 of the school reports gathered for this meeting were done in person. After school, I visited MAMS, Willie Road, and Strathmore to get the reports from the principals, and next month I plan on visiting Ravine Drive, Cliffwood, and Cambridge to get their updates in person as well. I will continue to rotate and do 3 schools in person and 3 by email each month. I hope you found this report to be adequate, and if you have any further questions, please let me know. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Fairwood. Dr. Micah?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to start by wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving, and thank you, community members, for all you do to support the district. Thanks to the admin, the staff, and everybody associated with the district, and I just wish everyone a tremendous Thanksgiving. Having said that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Cinerosa. Thank you.
I'm Jessie Cinerosa. So this evening, what I'd like to do is just showcase a few of the highlights of our Ravine Drive students, and mainly the focus will be on them. But obviously, it's a culmination of the work of all of our staff coming together. When we entered this year, like everyone else, there was a lot of nervousness, apprehension. How is this year going to look compared to next year, and how can we make it as typical as our student representative highlighted? And we are in that transition. So I wanted to take a moment just to focus on the 2 main areas. When we came in September and I met with the staff, one of the main focuses was how are we going to obviously keep up with the academic demands, but also very much in tune with the social emotional learning for our students. Many of them were not even in school last year. Our first graders had never, who had been full remote, had never been in school at all. And our second graders, the last time many of them had been in school was when they were in March of their kindergarten year. So this was something that we were very much in tune with, and we said, how are we going to do that and still address the academic demands? So in keeping with, of course, the spirit of all of Madawan Aberdeen, we can do it. So here at Ravine, one of the big initiatives that obviously you are aware of has been the integration of our new literacy program. In addition, also a big highlight this year has been our MTSS, our multi-tiered systems of support, and how we were going to address those students who are going to need extra support both in the classroom and maybe even additional support outside of the typical classroom. I'm happy to say that we've been up and running with that right from the beginning, and that we continue to fine-tune the process as we're using many multiple measures to identify our students and provide them with the additional supports that they need to be successful in school. Why is this not working? That being said, I'm highlighting the fact that our ESSER funded before school tutorial program will be beginning in December, which will also be there to address students who need that additional academic support. On the flip side of that, to complement it, we also are happy to be bringing in our enrichment program to address the needs of the students who are excelling in many areas, such as art, literacy, music, and in math and sciences combined with our STEAM. To support that within the school day, we are also, for our second and third graders, able to offer certain clubs that will also be in art, literacy, music, and STEAM that students will be able to elect to join as additional ways, and that will be open to all students that they want to continue to grow in certain areas and clubs and activities, meeting those enrichment categories. As many of you who are present today, as you walked in the hallway, some of the highlights of the student work that were on display included many of the social emotional activities that I'm going to be spotlighting, but also some of the curricular activities. This month being the month for Indigenous Peoples and Native American Day, one of Thanksgiving, Veterans Day. These were all activities that we really put a spotlight on academically, but also within the whole social climate of Ravine Drive. So some of the academic highlights that you may have seen are the creations from our kindergartners for their unit on Indigenous Peoples and Native Americans with their social studies unit. First grade, you'll see a little bit of a highlight that I'm going to be showing in a video in a bit, very short video, but we'll highlight some of the STEM challenges that have been going on inside the classroom, keeping that social connection, social-emotional connection, making it fun for our young learners, tying it in with our 5 Little Pumpkins, STEM challenge, and then STEAM activities with math monsters and turkey and math. We also did social studies unit with family traditions then and now, where children were researching what their families were like and interviewing and then presenting to the class to have them know what their own backgrounds were. And our 3rd grade, of course, was doing one of their STEM science experiments, which was the dancing worms, which was very, very fun to go in the classroom and see. To support our social and emotional learning, one of the shifts that we've made this year, well, we've been continuing, but that we're going to shift also that will support our STAR students, is a big push with our character education. So beginning in October, we focused on kindness. One of the posters that you'll see out there, it looks like we misspelled the word kind. It's a giant K and N and D. But really, children then stood in the middle, and the emphasis was for them to be the I in kind. Next to that, out in the hallway, you'll see a giant tree. It started just with branches. And throughout the month of November, children did different activities in which they were trying to be taught and understand what it means to be truly thankful. And they were creating leaves, and you can look at some of the notes that they put up there of things that they are truly thankful for. Some of them are so sweet and so innocent, and some are really, really very heartwarming and touching. So we focused on our STAR students. The focus has been on not just the academic component, but now more the character education. So in October, we highlighted in each of our homerooms one child that was identified and showed acts of kindness. Students received certificates. The students then have their photos taken, a group photo, also will be shown on the website. And at the end of the year, as we build upon it, we're working with the Ravine Drive PTO. We're going to have a large celebration for them, a nice sweet luncheon at the end, for them all to work together. Because the emphasis also that I really wanted to bring about was for the children to look at the school, not just as the school, but as we're all a community, not just of learners, but we're a community of people that work together. School as a community, some of the fun activities have been, for instance, we mentioned our scarecrow drawing contest, in which they tied literacy in, but it was also a way for them to tie literacy and art together, come up with a design, and then Mrs. Airy, she was able to create that 3-dimensional scarecrow. The children were so excited to see them come to life. They were just thrilled to see them in the hallways. We're also starting additional before-school clubs and during-school clubs. And I highlight that slightly different than the enrichment clubs. We have a lot of different activities. They're all together, obviously, and overlapping. But our Peer Buddy program, which is connecting some of our older students, our 3rd graders, with some of our younger students, and having them work together and maybe pair up and work through and just have that buddy within the school day and making those connections and sharing that process. We also will be having a before-school engineering and environmental club, where the focus will be on ways not just solving problems and experiments for the sake of it, but also identifying problems that are real in our school, or also within perhaps the Matawan community, that the children will be able to then work with Mrs. Bruder and Mrs. Kieran-Bird, who are the advisors for that, and come up with ways that they can solve some of those problems. And then we look at the school as an individual community, but the school within the community. Some of the other programs that we've brought in, working with Matawan Police. We have such a special relationship here at Ravine Drive with Matawan Police because we're the only building within Matawan. So Matawan Police are always a presence, but also so many of them now have come through Ravine Drive School. They were former students here. Actually, the pictures in this hallway, many of them will go and they want to highlight and show us who they are. So having lunch with a Matawan police officer, we're working with that. So once a month, a police officer, back in November, he was here and he sat through the entire period 3, 4, 5, and 6, working with our kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd graders, just socializing and talking with them. And the children had such fun questions. It was a big difference from the kindergartners all the way to 3rd grade. But it was a really, really nice, both the police officer as well as our students truly enjoyed the experience. The students also are taking part in a lot of community efforts as far as whether it be fundraising or donations. So we're trying to highlight one at least within each season and or if we can within each month. So we kicked off the school year doing one that had been a tradition here at Ravine Drive. We continued the juvenile diabetes fundraiser, which children brought in whatever coins. We collected over $500 just of coins of the children bringing in. We continued at late October going into the beginning of November with our Socktober drive, where we said what would be a very child-friendly K-3 way of making a difference and honoring perhaps our veterans for their service here. So we worked with some of the local veteran community groups, and they had said, you know what, socks, it seems so simple, but it's so valuable for those of us, our elders in the community and veterans. So we collected over 300 pairs of socks within 1 week. And we brought that to the American Foreign Legion in Neptune. In addition, we're now in the process, we had just finished up our Thanksgiving food drive, in which we had 2 humongous crates that we were able to bring over to the Monmouth County Food Bank. And they were amazed that, just from a school, although they had, big companies maybe making donations, from a school to have such huge efforts, they were greatly appreciative of what we were able to do here. And we were really focusing on the fact that the children can make a difference in other people's lives. So that being said, for those of you who are not able to be here and to capture some of the things that maybe we're not able to do and show live, we put together a little video. Can you hear that? give a special thank you to all the teachers who it took took them so much work to create those activities and put them together. It's such a short video, but as many of us know, when you put together that, it takes so much time, and it doesn't capture all the work that went into creating those lessons. In addition, Mr. Levinson, as our new music teacher, he put together and spliced together all the children singing. He rehearsed all the month of October going into November for It's a Grand Old Flag. And the children were so excited to be able to sing. We put it together outside. And then in addition, Mrs. Airy, our art teacher, was able to put together and splice a lot of those elements to put together that presentation. So I just wanted to give a special shout out to the staff of Ravine Drive. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Itarosa, for showing us the wonderful things that are happening at Ravine Drive. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Levin.
Thank you, Dr. Micah. The board, twice a year, we're required to report out to the board the district data related to student safety and HIV. So this is the report for report period 2, which was shared with the board in your folder previously. This update covers from January to June of 2021. The data includes incident numbers plus alleged and confirmed HIV cases, which have been previously shared each month with the board. This data is then submitted to the Department of Education for review. The 2020-2021 data is reflective of the number of students that were both in person and remote. This will also be reflected in our yearly self-assessment. At the December board meeting, I'll report out to the board the initial draft of the 2021 self-assessment, which includes all the respective data from report periods 1 and report period 2. So that concludes the update on the HIV report for period 2.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions for Mr. Levin? No? Okay. And we'll move on to the board president's report. Thank you, Ms. Siderosa, for the update. We love hearing about all the activities that the children have been participating in, especially the focus on kindness and thankfulness. Also, all the new programs and the exciting opportunities for the students, so that they keep growing academically and socially, emotionally. Just a few updates for tonight. The district had a successful strategic planning training session for the committees about a week and a half ago, and the strategic planning conference weekend will take place January 21st and 22nd, in which we welcome all community members to participate in developing the district's vision, goals, and objectives. Recently, an update came out that the kindergarten registration for the 2022 and 2023 school year for students not currently enrolled in the district preschool program opens December 6th. District continues to be hiring. If you're interested, please contact us or look on the website. We're actively looking for bus drivers, bus aides, transportation assistants, lunch and recess aides, and custodians. And with that, we'd like to all wish everyone a very happy and healthy Thanksgiving, and we will move to curriculum and instruction. Mr. Valentier?
Good evening. Beginning with Part A, travel, one staff member attending the NJPSA Culturally Arts Education Workshop, one staff member attending the Linda Rubel on Cloud 9 workshop, 2 staff members attending the Regional Professional Development Academy workshop, effective inclusive instructional practices and mathematical challenges to mathematical successes, and those are at no cost to our district membership, to the Regional PD Academy, 1 staff member attending the Wilson Reading System Advanced Strategies Multisensory Language Workshop, 1 staff member attending the NJAHPERD 22 Convention, 3 staff members attending the NJPSA 22 Convention, and 2 staff members attending the National Conference and Education Workshop, which includes membership dues to that organization. Moving on to Part B of curriculum instruction, we have 1 item on the agenda. We're asking the board to approve the submission of the district school safety and security plan annual review statement of assurance, also known as the SOA, for the 21-22 school year. In accordance with state statute, each school district is required to have a comprehensive plan, procedures, and mechanisms that provide for the safety and security in each district's public school. So that this submission certifies that we are in compliance. And that is all for curriculum and instruction.
Thank you. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the agenda?
I'll motion. I'll second.
Any questions from the board? Okay, student services, Ms. Perez?
Good evening, everyone. Under Student Services, under item number 3, we're asking for board approval for the additional students for bedside instruction. The student's identification number are listed along with the cost, and it continues on to page 2 of 3. Under item number 4, we're asking for board approval for the agreement with the following provider for the 21-22 school year on an as-needed basis for students requiring additional assessments. These students would be attending the Mattawan Regional School District and require more additional information to provide services. Under item number 5, we're asking for board approval for the following funds for Keys Academy to support student programming and needs. The vendor is ShopRite with the cost listed along with the account number. Under item number 6 on page 3 of 3 at the top, we're asking for board approval for Ms. McPherson to provide student supervision for student identification 157751 on an as-needed basis for the 21-22 school year, and the account number is listed as well. That concludes student services.
Thank you. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the agenda?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any questions from the board?
I don't have a question, but I just would like to mention that I went out to Keys this past week to attend a conference, and I just wanted to say how incredibly impressed and touched I was by the students that I met and by the facilities in general. Just the atmosphere of recovery and how incredible it really is, and it was very moving. And I just am very proud that our district is involved, and I was so thankful that there was grant money and a lot of connection to really healing and good things socially and emotionally. So just a comment, so thank you.
Thank you.
Can I follow up on that?
Yep.
I have to do my question. I don't know if anybody's aware, but at some point, the funding for Keys was removed completely. We fought and were able to get back $500,000. We originally were given a grant for $1 million. So anybody who's here who thinks that that's a good program, I would suggest lobbying our representatives in Trenton to continue that increase in the funding. I know that's something that I continue to work on every year.
Thank you. Personnel, Mr. Liebman?
Thank you and good evening. We're going to begin tonight with a walk-in item for action. The board has a copy. Item number 1 on the walk-in is resignation. And item number 2 on the walk-in, 2 staff members to point to their respective positions with salaries and start dates as listed. To the posted agenda for action, section A, resignations, retirements, in red. We have 2 resignations and 1 retirement with effective dates as listed. Item B, leave of absences for 21-22 school year, 3 staff members listed in red with their effective dates. C, appointments, number 1, extracurricular activities, 2 additional staff members listed in red for assistant coaching positions. Item number 2, curriculum instruction and title grants, 1 staff member in red listed for academic support. On page 3 of 7, amended hours, which were previously approved at the 9/27 meeting. The additional hours, amended hours are listed in red. Item number 3, for C&I Middle School Data Analysis PD Committee for the 21-22 school year, 4 staff members listed in red for data analysis. Item 4, for C&I Elementary School Data for 21-22 school year, under Cliffwood, 2 staff members are listed, and Lloyd Road, 1 staff member listed for data analysis PD. Item number 5, C&I academic support for 21-22 school year. For Ravine Drive, 5 staff members are listed. For Strathmore, 4 staff members listed in red. This is for supplemental academic support at both the schools. Item number 7, curriculum writing for 21-22 school year. Staff member listed for middle school curriculum writing. Continue on to page 5 of 7, 2 staff members listed for high school curriculum writing. No changes to items 8 or 9. Moving on to page 6 of 7, item 10, home instruction, additional student as listed on the bottom of page 6, another student listed on top of page 7 of 7, both in red. Item 11, district translators for 21-22 school year, additional staff members listed. Under section D, number 1, the HIB report is listed from the November 8th meeting. Item number 2, behaviors overload is listed with costs. And item number 3, school counselor overload with costs is listed as well. That concludes the personnel agenda.
Thank you. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the agenda?
I'll motion.
Second.
Any questions from the board? Okay, policy, Mr. Liebman.
Under policy, we recommend to the board for second reading and adoption all policies and regulations as listed, and this is action item for second reading and adoption. That concludes policy agenda.
Thank you. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the second read of the policies?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Great. Any questions from the board? No? Finance, Ms. Case?
Good evening, we'll be taking action on the following items: payroll for October and bills list for November, transfer of fund status for September, board secretary for the month of September, approving all major fund status for the month of September, acceptance for the ESSER 3 or American Rescue Plan, along with some state plans, which is accelerated learning, evidence-based summer learning, evidence-based comprehensive beyond the school day activities, and NJTSS mental health. 6 will be the acceptance of grant funds for the Recovery High School in the amount of $500,000. 7 will be the submission of the annual comprehensive maintenance plan in Form M1. 8 is the change order to receive a little under $700 back. 9 will be the G Suite Enterprise for this year. 10 will be the sale and disposal of assets for some buses that have gone out of the contract. The other one is for obsolete workbooks and textbooks as delineated in the chart. 11 is the acceptance of donation from Investors Foundation in the amount of $1,000 to the KEYS program. 12 will be for the acceptance of some grant funding from the Madeline Ravine Education Foundation in the grants delineated in the chart. 13 is the acceptance of the donation from EXP Realty. They are supplying a little over 44 basketball jerseys for the Harlem Wizards on December 8th to the teaching staff. 14 will be for the venue of graduation. This will be a backup plan at Brookdale. We have the ability to cancel. There is no charge to the district. It's just a backup plan. And 15 is a non-resident student that we would like to accept for the remainder of the school year. And then 16 is the fire and evacuation drills for the month of October.
Can I get a motion and a second to approve the agenda?
I'll motion.
Second.
Any questions from the board or comments?
I have a comment. I would just like to thank the Educational Foundation. I know it's not easy raising money during COVID, but yet they managed to come up with over $7,000 grant money. So that doesn't go unnoticed. That is much appreciated.
I would also just like to say, to reiterate what Ms. Friedman had said earlier, how fantastic it is that we were able to get $500,000 grant funds for the Recovery High School Access Project. And I'd like to thank those in this room, the administration, Dr. Micah, and Ms. Friedman as well, for all the hard work to get those funds. Public comments relating to agenda items and additional matters. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on matters of interest to the school community. Individuals wishing to speak must state their name and address. Comments are limited to 3 minutes duration, but an individual may speak a second time after all others who wish to speak on the topic have been heard. All statements should be directed to the board president, and no participant may address or question board members individually. All speakers are requested to express themselves in a civil manner with due respect for the dignity and privacy of others whose legal rights may be affected. Please note, while it is not the board's intention to stifle comment on matters of legitimate concern, the public should be aware that if their statements violate the rights of others under the law of defamation or invasion of privacy, they may face personal liability to the injured party. If speakers are uncertain of the legal ramifications of their comments, the board urges them to seek guidance beforehand from their own legal advisor.
Is it public comments? Okay, I thought it was. Okay. Hi, Cindy Santora. I'm on White Road. I'm not going to give my full address, but you guys can get it if you want it. So, did you guys make decisions about curriculum yet? Because I know I came a little bit late. I come from New York City, so it's very hard for me when I'm working to get here on time. Okay, so my comment today is about the new New Jersey sex ed curriculum that everyone's talking about. And I would say probably about 90% of it I'm okay with, but there are some definite things that I have concern with. And one of the big concerns I have is a lot of this, and I did read every single page of 66, so it seems to be a one-size-fit-all curriculum. My daughter is 10 going on to 11, she's in 5th grade, and she sits with teddy bears. And she is not like my 19 and 20-year-olds who are much more mature at that age. Because she's our last one, I guess we kind of followed her a little bit. So as I'm reading through some of these expectations for a 5th grader, I mean, I'm a little shocked. I'm just going to read one section that I am definitely concerned with. And the funny thing is that I kind of feel like they throw in good things so that, like, you really can't complain about the bad things because they're thinking, hey, it's talking about sexting and child pornography. And I mean, as a parent, you can't be against that, right? Well, I definitely have problems. So let me just tell you one of the issues I currently have. On page 31, New Jersey Student Learning Standards, Comprehensive Health and Physical Education, under 2.1, Personal and Mental Health by the end of grade 5. It says, explain 2.1.5 PGD 4. Explain common human sexual development and the role of hormones, examples, romantic and sexual feelings, masturbation, mood swings, timing of pubertal onset. Yeah, I don't want the school teaching my daughter about masturbation. It's really not your job. Now, if there are parents out there who would like you to teach their children about masturbation, I'm okay with that. But there definitely has to be an opt-out or a, hey, we're teaching masturbation on Tuesday, you might want to keep your kid home. I know that I was in New York and they had some of this stuff, and the schools were very creative in the ways they were able to notify parents about this type of curriculum. Whereas they basically sent the curriculum home and they said, Monday we're learning this, Tuesday we're learning this, Wednesday we're learning this. And then if the parent had a problem, their child suddenly just stayed home on Tuesday. Now, I understand that this is issued by New Jersey and you guys are required to follow that. I get it. But you need to think outside the box because I am going to be very unhappy if you're teaching my child about masturbation. She's 10 years old and it's really not your job. I have no issues talking to my children about sex health. My older daughter came out to me at the age of 13. I'm okay with this. I am not okay with the Board of Ed discussing masturbation with my 10-year-old. Okay, so that's the first thing. So my other issue is, and again, my daughter is not 8 years, not going into 8th grade, but there is another thing in here that I really have a big problem with, and that is, where is it? It basically talks about like identifying, describe the state and federal laws relating to the age of consent, which I'm okay with, minors' ability to consent to health care. Minors' ability to consent to health care. You're doing this in the 8th grade. Minors don't even have the ability to say yes to sex in the 8th grade, right? I don't know about New Jersey, but New York, I know the legal age is 17. So I'm pretty surprised that my daughter can consent to a medical procedure, but she can't have sex. This is like a little weird. It's like, to me, that doesn't make sense. Like, how can you tell someone, you can't have sex until 17, but let me talk to you about consenting to a medical procedure by the 8th grade. I have a problem with this. I have a big problem with this. We came from a state that I would like to think is much more liberal than New Jersey. And when my daughter was in high school in New York, they had a clinic there where you could go in and your child can do whatever they want with parental consent. I had to agree to it. So there is definitely some things in this that I have a problem with. And I need to know, what is the board going to do about this? Now, some of the stuff is crazy. And don't get me wrong, there's some great things in here. We all know that the middle school is like Lord of the Flies, and some of the mental health stuff in here is amazing. I had a parent text me today and said, can you talk to the board about, let me tell you, I actually copied it because people are contacting me. One of my music students today told me that he won't use the middle school bathroom all day because of the violence happening there. Can you ask about that? So like some of the mental health stuff, I get and I understand because we need it. Because it seems like people have forgotten how to be people and children have forgotten how to be children. So the stuff that's in there with mental health is great. And then they have the crap that they load into there. And I have an issue with this. And I don't know why there's not more people here not complaining about 5th graders being taught how to masturbate. I mean, it's a problem, okay? It's a problem.
Ms. Santoro, would you be amenable to Mr. Bombardier reaching out to you to talk more specifics?
Yeah,
Once we get back from Thanksgiving break?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know if you're gonna give opt-out options?
The policy is still at the board level, so I can't answer that right now. However, really would like to get your thoughts, and Mr. Bombardier will reach out so then he can get them all down.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Jamie Miller, Ravine. First, I want to address the fact that we've had a lot of, for us people who've been coming to these meetings a lot and saying where we live and stuff like that, it's been a problem. People have been getting private messages, calling out where we live and stuff like that. That's a problem. I think this is a silly thing to have to do, to say where we live and our phone names and everything to protect ourselves. That's just number one. Two, I agree with her. I think all this new stuff that's being introduced to children, I think parents should be notified on what's going to happen on a weekly basis or something like that in case people are uncomfortable with it. My kid's only in 1st grade, really didn't look into it that much. I figured things to think about at the moment, but I would appreciate that I knew that, hey, this week we're going to go over this because my daughter's in 1st grade, but she thinks her stuff down is a real person. Like, there's just, like, she's not there yet, you know? And I don't know if she'll be there in 2nd and 3rd grade, but obviously this is not something that's going to go away. So I think that's a really good idea. Obviously, we know the election's over now, so we're all going to be talking about the fact that we want to know what's going to go on with vaccines and mandatoriness and things like that. New York is setting up things inside the schools. Do you guys plan to do anything like that?
There's been no such mandate in New Jersey.
Not yet. However, my concern is, obviously a mandate's a mandate. Are we going to try to get together with other places in regards to, fight back on that? I'm not against vaccines. I don't care what you do with your children. I'm not saying I'm not going to get my child vaccinated if they aren't vaccinated already. I just think this has gone far out of realm at this point, and there's never going to be a stop unless everyone gets together to stop it. We're already at a 4th booster for adults. I mean, that's crazy. So that's one. I would like, some type of a survey or something, parents who want it, whatever, to see where we stand. He talked today about taking the mask off the kids if we reach quote-unquote 80%, so that was kind of promising that it wasn't going to be mandatory, but we have to reach a certain number. And also, like she said about medical consent and stuff like that, let's just think hypothetically down the line, and we are mandated to do this, and there's no way around it, whatever the case may be. I don't want it, and they said you can do it in school. In New York, there's something about, there was something about if you send your kid to school, that's consent for them to get a vaccination or something from a school. That's ridiculous. Yes, that has happened. Or you can say that, you can tell the child that we spoke to your parent on the phone, and that's a consent as well. I want to make sure that does not happen here as well. Felt like there was more, but I'm mainly concerned about, number one, I want to know my kid is going to school and my kid is safe. Like, I don't want to have to tell her, hey, if anyone comes near you and says that mommy says this or that, you scream and yell and say, no way, because I will not consent to anything unless I'm there. If I'm there, that's fine. But these crazy things are happening. You want to believe, you don't want to believe, that's fine. These crazy things are going on. I know a kid in special education that wasn't supposed to get COVID tested, not here, but I'm just saying in New York, and we seem to follow the same trends they do. The mother said, absolutely not. They told the kid, oh, we're gonna just look in your mouth at something, and they ended up testing him against the parents' will. Yeah, I know, it sounds crazy, but it happened. So I just wanna make sure when I'm sending my kids to school, they're safe, and I don't have to worry about any of this. And that's pretty much it. I would just like some type of fight back against the mandatory thing. And what happens if there is a mandate and people decide to pull their kids out of the school district fully to either do homeschool or how does that affect everything? Like, wouldn't the governor look at it like, what's going on over here? Why is this happening? Do you guys, does the school districts lose money? What exactly happens if say 50% of people pull their kids out of school?
Well, that directly affects funding, right? So
Right.
the funding is based off of a formula which includes the number of students that are currently enrolled in the district. So that certainly would have an effect, yes.
All right, so everything.
And a lot of the things that you just said have been clearly communicated to the governor's office and the DOE on, I say one occasion, too many times that I can count in the last 2 years.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Obviously.
And I'm hearing everything you're saying, and those things have been pushed up to the DOE and the governor's office.
And just one thing I wanted to add to, building on what Dr. Micah said earlier, regarding the policy that's still in the board's hands. It's the Comprehensive Health and Physical Education Policy 24-22. We actually 2 meetings ago tabled that policy because we feel like we do owe it more. We have to fully review it, see what's there, compare it to the new learning standards, see what's really appropriate, what we're able to do within it, what makes sense for our district. So we are going to give it due attention. That's why we tabled it. We didn't just approve it on the first read.
All right, I mean,
Yeah.
it's reassuring, and I know everything I'm kind of saying doesn't really fall on you guys, but at the end of the day, you represent
No, but it's
us, so when everything comes down, I just want to make sure, everyone's,
Yep.
I mean, look, there's people who don't care about it, they're like, well, no problem, my own father-in-law, he's like, whatever they want me to do, I'm just going to do. Okay, that's fine, but, to get pregnant for me, I had to take shots, I had to do all these types of crazy things to have my kids, and if I just don't feel comfortable, at the moment to do something, I just would hope, there are other people out there that feel that way enough to say, just because you're governor, I said it last time, I don't co-parent with Murphy, that's it. It's not that I don't like the guy, every time I do want to like him, he does something ridiculous that makes me not like him. But at the end of the day, I had to go through a lot, and then what happens if my daughter or my son is one of those, I'm sorry cases? What do I get out of that? Besides, I'm sorry because I tried to do what you quote-unquote told me was okay. So I don't know, so I just wanted to express that. Like I said, just for everyone, I'm not anti-vax, I am vaccinated, it's just, and you don't know if my kids are or aren't, but I feel like it just has become a point now where it's a bit much. When we're talking about adults, not even 6 months getting their 3rd one, they just started that, they're already talking about a 4th one. It's just, the goalpost just keeps on moving, and if we keep on laying down and not doing anything, what are we doing? Every 6 months lining up at the doctor's office like a bunch of monkeys. So, all right, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to do roll call on action items. We have curriculum and instruction, student services, personnel, policy, second read, finance.
Mr. Aher?
Yes.
Dr. Delaney?
Yes.
Ms. Friedman?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Montone?
Yes.
Ms. Brzezwar?
Yes.
Mrs. Scully?
Yes.
And Ms. Osborne?
Yes.
Okay. Any unfinished business?
I'd just like to take a moment just to thank Cliffwood Elementary for their lanterns and reading. It was an evening that we spent with the librarian. She put together a beautiful event. I know I also attended the Star Student. I think that school is pretty special. I was very happy to see that they got that award for being best elementary school, and I'm proud that I'm Cliffwood proud. So I guess I'm really happy to be involved in the board here, but even more so having my son attend such a wonderful place.
Thank you. Any new business? Ms. Osborne?
I just hope everybody takes the time to come out for the basketball game on December 8th. They can reach out to me or look at their website. I think it's wonderful to have us all together. Children actually look forward to those type of events, whether it's volleyball or basketball, anything to see the teachers running around sweating. I think it's nice to see them all together and they really enjoy it. And I just hope everybody has a safe and wonderful holiday season.
Thank you. Okay. Be it resolved that a closed session be convened for the purpose of discussing privacy, personnel, and legal matters. The subject matter of these discussions will be disclosed to the public when the reason for confidentiality subsides. Although the board cannot guarantee it, the length of the executive session is estimated to be 30 minutes, after which the public meeting of the board shall reconvene and proceed with business. Action will not take place. Can I get a motion and a second to enter executive session? All motion. All in favor?